Okay, so I decided to do the question two for this, where it was questions 5, 6, and 7 for answer two. And before even getting into the data set, I needed to fix my data set in order to use a pivot table. So during the test, I realized that my release dates were off and that there were double backslashes for like 6 or 7 of them. So I had to fix those in order to continue the problems and use a pivot table, which I thought would be easier. So for my first question, I created a pivot table. Or here, let's go to the question. It wants me to calculate the percentage of Universal Pictures movies over the last 3 years and a vote average higher than 6. So I created a pivot table where I had my Universal Pictures and release date in the rows so I could narrow it down, and then the vote average up top so I could see every vote that was higher than 6. And then I could group it in order to have everything higher than 6 in like smaller decimals. I did that. From that, I was able to count from each year, the past 3 years, 2014 through 2016, in order to find the number of votes. And then I would take that number of votes and divide it by the grand total in order to get the percentages for each year. And after that, I just added all three of these percentages together and divided it by 3 in order to get 58%. And so for question 6, it's asking me to select the 3 genres that were most profitable for your studio, in this case, Universal Pictures. Include the whole time period in your analysis. So here, I have my pivot table, but my pivot table was really hard to work with because at first this was 1 and 0, 0 meaning that it wasn't a, let's say, action movie. In this case, an action movie. It's not an action movie. 1 meaning that it is an action movie, and that goes the same for every single genre. A 1 means that that movie applies to that specific genre. And from there, I took the sum of the revenue and the budget, and if you subtract costs from your revenues, you're going to get your profits. And I'd had to do that manually for every single one because you put in like more than 2 in your pivot table, it makes it extremely hard to read what things go where. So I had to do it this way. So I manually did for each one. And once I did it for each one, I was able to use conditional formatting in order to make it easier for me to see which one was the highest. So yeah, when I did that, I saw that action, comedy, and thriller were the top 3 genres for Universal Pictures. Then the last one is, how would you quantify and interpret the impact budget in dollars? Has the popularity of Universal Pictures movies include the whole time period in your analysis? So Universal Pictures from 2000 to 2016 did not have better average popularity if the budget increased. This conclusion came from me working with the data set in order to find a correlation coefficient. And so in order to find a correlation coefficient, I needed 2 quantitative variables, and those 2 quantitative variables are, they were my budget in dollars, which you see in this row, this column, and then in this one is my average popularity. So average popularity per each one of the budgets. And when I created a correlation coefficient through these 2 arrays, budget and average popularity, gave me a very low variable, or very low number for this, 0.133. And this 0.133, meaning the increase in budget for the movie does not affect the popularity of the movie for Universal Pictures. Since the correlation coefficient is so low, there is no trend for you to say that the budget of the movie, as it goes up, will increase the average popularity. You can't say that for this case. And yeah.